If you could please turn off your electronic devices during the meeting and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh. Madam Amy, if you could please do the roll call.
Chairman Aspa?
Present.
Vice Chair Beavers?
Present.
Member May?
Present.
Member Parker? Present. Member Harkless? Absent. Member Rodriguez?
Here.
Member Page?
Here.
All right. Reports and updates. Thank you, Amy. Reports and updates, Steve.
Reports and updates. Staff has been working on the cemetery today. Parks has just been normal routine stuff at the parks. We are with the splash pad update. We did receive all of the equipment. Fortunately, we're still having problems. So everything over there is new, but it's still having issues. So we are working with the equipment manufacturer to get those resolved. Apologize, I know summer's half over. This was obviously not planned. It broke. It was ready to go and was actually up and running, and then it broke early on. Summer started, so unfortunately, due to all the issues with getting the new equipment here, it's out of our control. But now that everything's in, we're still having some issues. So Scott has reached out to the distributor to get those answers that we need. We have to get their technician out here to get it resolved, and then we'll do that. But that's where we stand right now. All the new equipment's installed, but it's still not working properly. Good news on the City Park restroom front. Finally was able to get all the repairs done. Single toilet in each, a single sink in each, and there'll be no stalls. They'll both be unisex restrooms. There won't be partitions. This is due to all the continued vandalism that we have over there, and all the fixtures are now the institutional fixtures, meaning they're all stainless steel. I will not be installing, there'll be no paper, with the exception of the toilet paper. There'll be no paper towels. We'll be installing hand dryers. We're gonna see how the whole hand washing goes, because we know on a regular basis the soap dispensers get ripped off the wall, and so we're constantly going through those as well. But the plan is to put in hand dryers, but I can still open the restrooms. The restrooms will only be issued to those park usage permits. They will not be open full-time Monday through Thursday, or on the weekends. It'll be park use only. So for instance, Little League will have a key. They will be responsible for opening and closing. And then that's how we're gonna manage the city park restrooms moving forward. Unfortunately, we've had an increase in vandalism at Western Park restrooms and Pop Harvey Park restrooms over the course of the last month. We had the interior of the women's side tagged, and over this past weekend, we had more of the partitions ripped off the wall at both locations. As the vandals continue to do this, we are basically not reinstalling the equipment as far as partition walls. So in the case of those two restrooms facilities, they're set up in a manner in which you can still use the toilet and have some privacy, but it seems like every time that we do these repairs and replace stuff, within a short time, everything gets, vandalized once again.
Are we catching those people?
The Pop Harvey Park one that happened 2 weeks ago, no. This one that just happened this weekend, we're still going through video. So
Pop Harvey doesn't have video?
Yes, we have.
Oh, they do.
Just no one was, there's no person of interest, let's just say.
Okay.
So we'll have the video for the Western Park look through as well. The vandalism that occurred at the city park, where we are now finishing up all that repairs. So that actually has gone to court. Actually had a court date on the 26th. We are seeking restitution from the, I think it was 3 people total, but I think they only caught one of them. So she's being held accountable for her actions, and we'll see what happens at court on the 26th. Otherwise, we are still working on repairs on the city park lights. We did get a list of ballasts that are out that we will have to replace. And we plan to do this in plenty of time, obviously, for fall ball, but we're working on that right now.
I think fall ball, I think we only have like one team, and it sounds like it's gonna be softball, so.
Otherwise, we're like I said, we're just doing routine work at the parks. Once things cool off, we will continue with our project at the cemetery, installing the automatic irrigation on Serenity, Tranquility, Good Shepherd areas. So that project will continue, but right now it's just routine maintenance. We are doing, like I said, a big cleanup because of all the storm activity we've had the last month or so.
Is there any feedback to the council, because we had recommended names for the other 2 fields? I don't remember ever hearing if anything happened with that.
Yeah, they adopted them.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we adopted them.
We took
Okay.
those.
Yeah.
I just don't remember hearing that, whether they had or not, so
Yes.
thank you.
And that's all I have.
Ideal. Appreciate your work. Thank you, and especially your crew. Moving on to old business, owner's responsibility for their banners. Is there a sign-up sheet where individuals have to pay a fee and sign a form to hang banners?
There's no form, but there is there's no fee, but there is a form that they fill out, which gives Steve and his team the dates and times and everything for the event and how long they want it posted, et cetera, et cetera.
And at what location?
Okay, I know like it used to be the town compliance person would drive around whenever you had yard sale signs that you left out, and he would take them to your house and tell you he's gonna write you a ticket for leaving yard sale signs. Could something like that similar be done? There's probably a city ordinance, because he had to be using a city ordinance.
So I think the banner was more of the pickup of the banner situation and not the actual, because Public Works takes those down and then we,
Yeah.
I thought we kind of
it's-
resolved that last time. I thought we discussed it last time and resolved it.
We
that
just have, for the big events like that people wanna have banners, sponsorship banners, we just want, I wanna take the responsibility off of my staff, being responsible for mounting and taking down. I realize, the businesses, wanna try to retain those as best as possible and reuse them. So what happened, has happened a few times in which we've taken things down and either my staff has put them somewhere or misplaced them. Anyway, businesses haven't been returned their banner. And so I want to try to avoid that and make them responsible for putting up their banner at the event is what I'm trying to get at, and have a designated section, assigned. All right, you can put your sponsorship banners here. You are responsible for your banner. Putting up, taking down, that way we're not, having to pay the businesses, the fee to replace their banner because we took it down, we can't find it. The guys lost it, whatever, threw it away. It
Okay,
happens.
all right. So I thought we agreed the last time just the banners, the businesses would be responsible for their own banners. So,
We did that.
okay, all right. So do we need more, or?
did we decide how long after the event? Like, are we giving them 72 hours before we take it down?
Yeah, I mean,
Or-
we can
I mean, I don't have a problem letting people hang and,
Yeah,
as long as they call
I-
us first
yeah,
and fill out the form.
I don't either. I don't know if I don't think we have a time limit on it now, but
Mm.
we perhaps should.
Maybe 72 hours. I think
Okay.
3 days is, I think, plenty of time to have
get
somebody
it and
wrap up
wrap it
and
up.
come get their stuff. and-
So we had discussed, like, if we're conducting one of our events and we're putting up a banner, we would be responsible to get them back to the business owner. Because if we're going around asking for their sponsorship, we would put them up, we would get them back. So what other banners are we just talking about then? At what other
Well,
events?
that's mainly when I'm speaking of
Our
those.
events.
Okay.
Yeah, those.
Right,
Now, the
so
ones that, when they come in to do a banner permit,
that's you guys.
they are responsible
Yeah.
for that banner.
Right.
So
But I mean, as far as our events,
our events, that's where we've actually misplaced, or my staff has inadvertently thrown them away.
Yeah.
Whatever has happened, there's been several occasions in which banners come up missing. And it's like, well, the business owner comes, or a sponsorship person comes and says, well, where's our banner? That's what I'm getting at, yes. More so than the permit stuff that we usually
Right.
do. It's our events that this committee puts
So
on.
I think what we had said is before we're done, when we're done as a committee, we will make sure that they're down.
perfect.
We'll take that responsibility
Great.
because we've asked them to donate to our event, so we'll take that responsibility. Gloria, do you have anything to say? Do you have any issues with that, Alan? Kaylee, Amber? Okay, so are you okay with that, Steve?
I am.
Okay. New committee member Gloria, do we, I thought,
Did those two things.
I thought we did that last time. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on to new business, park usage, policy and procedures, and water slide fee. So I did go ahead and if you look at the park reservation procedure, all I did was go in. If you look at the highlighted areas, this is what we discussed so that they stand out very clearly. I'm gonna be very clear on one thing. I did not approve this with you guys, but because the town of Parker hours changed, I did go ahead and update that too, to not include Friday. Because I just figured since we're in there doing that, that's probably the best way to handle that. So you guys didn't know that I did that, so I'm telling you clearly right now that when I did that, I did that. So the first one would be changing concession stand to concession stands. The next one would be changing Monday through Friday. Well, it was 8 to 5, but I believe that now it's 7 to 6, correct? And now it's Monday to Thursday. It was Monday to Friday, and I felt as if that was the most receptive thing to do. And then I'm just confirming my notes were correct. So it would be application for reservation is for 1 day or consecutive day events. Divided day and/or multi-weekend events must be submitted on individual applications for consideration and will be regarded as individual events. Organized sports leagues would be the exception if all hosted event requirements have been met. Again, the next one would be, it's no longer Friday, so it had to be Thursday. And then cancellation of park reservation greater than 7 days before event. Fee shall be refunded only to the individual on the application. No refund will be paid for events canceled within 7 days of scheduled reservation date. Cancellation shall be submitted in writing. Fee of $15 per water slide feature will be added to the reservation fee if any water equipment is used during the event. Page 5. Requests must be accompanied with a league schedule for games. Games shall take priority. Practice use is on first-come, first-served basis. It was individual activities or something. So, and then it didn't include the swap meet, and the swap meet was one of the big concerns. So hosted events such as swap meets. At the bottom of page 5, every effort to encourage a diversity of events at the parks shall be encouraged to allow availability and prevent monopoly. Same or similar hosted events will be limited to no more than twice per month, running for no longer than 3 months per calendar year. Organized sports leagues would be the exception if all hosted event requirements have been met. And then under the fee scale, adding the $15 fee for water features.
I was just on page 5, it says practice use is on the first.
I saw that.
for some instead of come.
Oh, wonderful, thank you. Okay, so we'll make that adjustment. And of course, spell check would not have grabbed that because some is actually a word.
No, it looks good.
Okay, Gloria, any comments, concerns, reservations, hesitations?
No.
Does that look like what we talked about last time?
Yeah.
Alan?
Same.
Looks good.
Good.
We'll need to entertain a motion then.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry, oh my gosh.
No, it's
You're
okay.
the most important one in all this because you have to uphold it. Go ahead, Steve.
I would suggest that we actually put a separate line item for the water feature stuff and put it, anywhere over there.
So,
Shade structure or amenity.
like below hourly cleanup or in front of, like open park
Yeah,
area and
somewhere
then,
over there rather
and then
than-
water feature?
Yeah, exactly, or water.
Yeah, the only concern I had with putting it there is the water features don't belong to the town. And all of this stuff belongs to the town. So it looked to me like it almost was like we'd rent them a water feature for $15.
Did you see what any other towns are any other towns listing that fee separately?
Not that I can remember. We looked at all that stuff when we first did do this. Not that I can remember. Havasu was probably one of the only ones who really had a laid out fee schedule in a graph like this. The rest of them didn't. It was just kind of incorporated in their stuff.
I wanna say Havasu did, I just don't recall what it was, the amount. And I don't think we should call it, I think we should actually use water slide or pool. And we can also put provided by the,
Doesn't it say water slide now?
This water
this is
features.
water feature.
So I see the reasoning behind saying water feature.
Yeah.
I mean, are we limiting it
Are we
to
right
just
here?
these inflatable pop-up slides or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So you don't want it to be included if someone, say, brings a huge swimming pool?
Well, yes, that's.
Or
what I
a
wanted.
dunk tank that overflows? Or the big old
Much
slip and
different,
slides
like
with
a
the
dunk
pools
tank
at the
gets
end?
refilled as you lose water. The other ones, it's a constant use of water.
Yeah. I just want to throw out that I agree with Steve because if you have a loophole person, which I can be a loophole person if I wanted to, I can say, I rented the ball field and put a water feature there. You can't charge me because it's
Right.
not that same line item.
Okay,
So I agree with Steve on that.
But I think we get away from features, and I want to include pools, yes, but.
What
a
about,
dunk
like-
Tank or a pool, but the water slides in particular, it's not just reusing the same water over and over. It's refilling and a constant use type of.
but I really
Some of
played
them
with
are-
what kind of
have
word to
pools,
put in
and
there.
Some of them don't have the pools.
And
where you're-
features
you're
was one I
constantly using
saw,
water.
I think it was Avondale's that said, the Avondale one said features. That's where I pulled that
About
from.
usage, water usage, not instead of the.
Water usage for
Anything
Okay.
that
slides
requires
or
water
Yeah.
use.
anything.
Because the water would belong to the town. Okay, so we'll put water usage below open park area, and then we'll put $15 fee per piece of equipment.
Yes.
Okay, so that will need to be an amendment into the motion. So where in the thing, it actually says fee of $15 per water slide / feature. Are you okay with that there?
Let's just change that to water use as well,
Okay,
or additional water use.
I think you guys have made it a point to use the same language all the way.
we have been very consistent about that, yeah, because I'm stupid about stuff
Loophole
like that.
person over here is gonna find that loophole.
So, and,
Well, I'm gonna say, I can run the concession stand and have a water feature in
yeah,
there, like if you really want
$15, so fee of $15 for water use will be added to the reservation fee if any water equipment is used during the event.
Or maybe $15 per, like per item, per
Okay, so fee of $15,
item.
$15 for water use will be added to the reservation fee for each piece of water equipment
There you go.
used.
Each, there you go.
Okay, got it. All right, so this is page 4 of 6. Fee of $15 for water use will be added to the reservation for each piece of water equipment used during the event. And then on the graph, we'll be adding between open park area and hourly cleanup. Water usage, $15 per piece of equipment. All right, so that was three amendments as noted. So,
We haven't entertained a motion yet, so you don't have to amend anything. It would just be accept the park usage with the corrections as noted.
okay, perfect.
So I motion to approve the park usage policy and reservation procedures as amended here, or as
As a recommendation to the
a
town council.
recommendation,
To the
yes,
town
town
council.
council, as corrected.
Do we have to second
Do
it?
we have a second?
Me.
So, second on Alan, all in favor? I muted this. I don't know how that happened, because I really muted this. Sorry, I know, so sorry. Okay, all in favor? Any opposition? Okay, noting none, motion carries. So that resolves that. And then Daniel, I will turn the microphone over to you for the cemetery stuff.
All right, so Alan and I met and went over this. I provided you guys with a short little addition to the cemetery. So it states the town of Parker shall limit the time of a grade-sized service to a maximum of 2 hours from the scheduled time of arrival to the cemetery. Religious or cultural customs will be taken into consideration, but service requests beyond the 2-hour time limit will require town of Parker approval prior to the scheduled service. Any questions or comments?
2 hours is acceptable to you, for your crew?
Yeah, and I think it's important that we said, the cultural, of course, if there's any sort of adjustments we need to do, then that leaves us open to do that.
Yeah. So yes, going from just an unopened or kind of finished burial, it obviously has impacted my staff's ability to actually leave the cemetery in a timely manner. So for us to get our work done after the ceremony's over, this is great.
And so with that, you got to keep in mind, they're there probably at least an hour in advance and probably an hour after. So if it's 2 hours, they're 4 hours. So this should hopefully help with his scheduling. So when somebody gets something approved for 6 hours,
Yeah.
He understands, okay, I just lost guys for 8 hours today. Hopefully it helps.
No, this is great.
And who's gonna tell them to leave?
Town staff is directed to inform. Now, there's two situations. So when they actually are here, actually making their reservations for their burial, at that time, Roxanne or Megan or one of the office staff will inform them, all right, you have a 2-hour limit. Now, if you want additional time, please let us know now. Town staff will inform you if you go over and let you know that you need to end your time here so we can get our work done and be done. So at 2 locations now, out there, if they say, oh, well, they gave us extra time, this and that, no. Town staff knows because they have a work order.
Yeah.
This is gonna happen, this date, this is the time, this many hours, and then they know to let the people know. And obviously, we work hand in hand with Parker Funeral Home too, so they know what's gonna be happening as well, so.
I guess if they know, like, beforehand is
Mhm.
okay, but it's such
Right.
a touchy subject. Like, it
Yeah,
really is.
I think notification is the biggest thing here is, we need to be able to properly staff all public works departments, and if we don't know what's going on out there, then we can't accommodate. So, I think that notification is gonna be a huge,
Yeah, the upfront stuff is early on in the process, and so they know and understand. It's not just, yes, we wanna obviously take that consideration, and appreciate, they wanna have a ceremony and do what they would like to do, but at the same time, we have to do work before and after each and every burial. And it does take away, and actually, takes
tax dollars to pay staff overtime, 2 hours, 4 hours for these burials. And it doesn't make any sense. It's a waste of tax dollars. If we're allowing people to have all-day burials out there, well, I'm a taxpayer. I don't approve of that.
And it's
So,
it's a huge
I
liability.
respect the cultural significance of it all, but at the same time, I'm also paying for that staff member, which is a waste of time. If you're over there for 4 or 5 hours, in some cases lately, we've had 8-hour burials. That
And
is
this
not,
Sorry, Steve,
not
to
good.
interrupt. This is a service that we provide.
Yep.
This is not perks. This is not, this is a service that we provide somebody.
Right.
And that should be billed appropriately, so we're not losing money on it. I understand the cultural and whatnot, and we've made provisions for those types of ceremonies, but this is a service that we provide, so.
Out of utmost
we should
respect,
be at least covering our costs.
yeah, out of utmost respect, like all of the stuff, we're gonna make the recommendation to you as a council member, and then your council will get to decide.
I just know it's a touchy.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
can be, but I think in some cases, it certainly has been abused, and the
Right.
only, the
This will
folks,
eliminate that abuse.
the folks,
Fair, I know absolutely nothing about this.
Can-
my folks,
saying.
and
No, I just feel bad for the person that's gonna have to tell those people.
Yeah.
So here's the reality is the likelihood of this ever being enforced is slim to none without somebody not knowing.
most people.
but it
most-
will be
most are
something
fine.
that people keep in their mind when they are there.
Because they're given a heads up.
Because they're given a heads up. And a lot of it is gonna be, it's kind of like the same, and it's kind of like the same thing that's happened the last couple years. I mean, Steve and Amy, the staff really is gonna need to be trained to make sure they inform that. Because we've seen with some of the park policy stuff where stuff has just kind of been, well, we'll just let them do that and then,
Right. Right, we have it on policy in our paperwork, basically, and when they come in, that is the important thing to discuss. One of the other, important things is the actual, length of the burial, so.
hyphen out of the 2 an hour, because it's not in the first one.
Yeah, it was spelled, that was autocorrect, so.
Yeah,
you can do
okay.
whatever you-
It's only because it's not in the first one.
But I mean, just so you know, there was growing pains when the town elected not to have people at the graveside when they lowered the casket. There was growing pains, but now it's not an issue. It's not. Nobody says anything. They come in here, it's the rule. They get out there. If they're not burying by hand with shovels, the family knows this concludes the service. The town of Parker, we conclude it. This concludes the services. The town of Parker will continue the burial once everybody's left the graveside. Everybody leaves. In the beginning, a little rocky, but now, so it's just gonna be the same thing.
Yeah, once you're accustomed to it, it's just the way that it is.
Correct.
Okay. Gloria, you have any comments?
Just like I said, I just feel bad for whoever's,
Yeah.
like when it's that family that does not want to leave, like who is gonna, that was my
Come
question.
back tomorrow when the hole's covered.
We're not in the COVID status anymore. Most people are having eats after. So they're leaving the gravesite and they're going to have other family time together. They're going to eat together and spend time together. So they can do a lot of that socializing at that event and not at the graveside, whereas during COVID, that really wasn't happening much.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will help as well, that we don't have a lot of the restrictions and guidance that we had during COVID. Alan, any comments or issues?
No, I think this is perfect.
Kaylee, Amber? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to recommend this policy change to town council for approval.
Second.
I'll entertain one. I can't motion, I don't think. I'm chair. I'm only a dividing, I can't even vote. I only vote on a, so,
So I make a motion to make this, I don't know what.
recommendation
Recommendation. Make a motion to make this recommendation
to town council.
to town council.
Thank you. Amy, you're good with that? Okay, second, please. Amber, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, thank you. All right, we'll go ahead to the minutes of April 11th and 16. So entertain a motion to approve those minutes as presented to us.
I move to approve the minutes for April 11th and May 16th.
All right, and is there July minutes there?
July's is underneath, but it's not on
okay.
this agenda.
It's not on-
Yeah, July is not listed on the.
can't include it, so April, May 2nd? Gloria seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Color run, Kaylee, turn it over to you.
Jen, I'm sorry, who was my motion and second?
Motion was Kaylee, second was Gloria.
Thank you.
I emailed out flyers. I came up with 2 different flyers to kind of decide what you guys wanted to run with, what we can change. These are just rough drafts. I talked to Fabian Castro to DJ, and he said he's not available that first weekend of January, so I went ahead and put January 14th. I think that's the second weekend.
That's good.
Is that a good weekend?
I think Best in the Desert just announced the
Yeah.
race is like the first weekend.
Is that the first?
Oh,
weekend.
beautiful.
So,
Melissa, do you have any conflicting events on that weekend?
I was looking, but I know the race was that first weekend.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
It is
I
the
just
first
saw that.
weekend?
July, or January 4th through the 8th.
Yeah, they just announced
Okay.
it.
And like we were in our last meeting, we kind of decided, like, first of the year, snowbirds will still be here. I don't know if we want to cap it out at, 250 participants, what we want to do. I put on one of these that the start line was going to be at the skate park. I haven't looked at where we could go do the route, and I don't know what it includes to actually block roads off and everything, so I don't know if I need to get with you guys for that, or get with somebody from,
Yeah, get with, you can
Another-
come in and talk to me and we'll get it figured out, or just come up with an idea and then come in and.
yeah, it doesn't have to be like a set, like 5K, it's a fun run, it doesn't have to be 3.1 miles, it can be 2 miles, it could be a 1 mile, it doesn't need to be a
What
specific.
happens along the way? Do they throw color on each other?
Right, so basically, when I had mapped it out, what I would think would be just one big, square. Each corner was gonna have fire extinguishers with that color. You order it from a color run supply, so it's safe, but basically, as people run by, you kind of spray the fire extinguisher out as they run by. The kits that I have found online, I wanna say were like $15, and it included a t-shirt, sunglasses, 2 color packets, and a bandana of the color of your choice.
Oh, cool.
So it's $15 that we would have to pay for it, and then they would pay for a $35 fee to do it and get their stuff. My other question would be, one, how we can register them. Do we want to do it like online? So the website that I was going through, they help get you set up, but I would need like the bank account for here, so it would just automatically get deposited.
It's 3, 4, no.
No, yeah. So I figured we would get together with that, or if you guys wanted to do it like old school, like where they sign up, okay.
I love the online.
I
idea.
prefer
It's gonna
online.
Take away from having, people handling cash at a,
Right.
registration table.
I agree.
We get a good idea of how many people we have up front even before we order supplies.
Exactly.
Eventbrite is a really great resource for people buying tickets and selling stuff. And
Right.
typically, if you're a nonprofit, there's not a charge.
Okay.
Which we're not a nonprofit, but we're a government agency, so
And then
usually there's no charge.
My other, I put shotgun start 8 a.m. Obviously, these are just rough drafts. I don't know what you guys want to run with, but we could do like most places that do like half marathons, they pass out everything the night before. So if we wanted to have like come to the skate park and pick up your packet that has your shirt, your bandana, your sunglasses, so we don't have to deal with any of that in the morning, especially if it's going to be in January, it's going to be dark. If we start at 6 o'clock in the morning to pass their stuff out, I mean, it's up to you guys, whatever you guys want to do. You tell me.
What's the route?
I don't know yet. I don't know what the rules are for what roads can be blocked, what's safe, what's not, so
The one thing that I mentioned, Steve, when we were talking,
Quadrant here.
the one thing that I mentioned when we were talking is that the only park we have never done anything at is our walking park. So possibly incorporating a portion of that park as part of the walk, even any kind of piece of it as part of a walk might be nice, because it's the only park we've never done anything at.
Well, you're talking about crossing agency. That's the issue.
Unless you
So,
keep it on that
by
side.
crossing agency.
Why would we be, isn't the park down here?
Yeah.
If you started on the
If
other
you
side,
started
you
at
wouldn't
the
be
skate
able to-
park.
I would keep it all in one
Yeah, I
side.
wanted
Yeah,
to
pick
not
one side.
cross main
We can certainly
streets.
start it over there. As far as it,
But
Canyon
parking
Trails
would
being a
be an
walking
issue.
park, you can say it's a walking park, but really it's
It's a
it's
cleared out
not-
wash is
not
what
the
it
best.
is.
There's
Um,
feet walking.
But I would keep it in one quadrant, that way we're not crossing agency, so we have to do a road closure and a detour. So we could just do, as far as traffic control, we can do a soft closure with with the route, so residents know and drivers know, hey, there's an event going on here. And you can get quite a bit of, length-wise as far as, how long it's gonna be. But keeping it on one side and not crossing over is gonna be, the way to go.
I'm just wondering if maybe this would be a great way to get the people along the route to buy in too, Hey, you don't wanna run, toss the color at people or however.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I
who's
wanna
gonna
throw
toss,
stuff
is
at people.
the committee gonna be the ones with the
My
color,
plan was
or-
to, I mean, we don't have to have sponsors. My plan was to have sponsored tables at each corner of the route
Okay.
and have the sponsors donate $250 so we can get a little more,
Prizes,
or have more color.
have them color.
Because the packets that they get are only gonna be 2 ounces each.
Oh,
They're kind of
yeah.
tiny. And then you buy like pounds of color that they use the Dixie cup method with. It's exactly how it sounds. You dip, you throw, or if you wanna do the fire extinguishers, those obviously cost a little bit more, but maybe not buying like a bunch of those, maybe only buying one for each color. I don't know how long they would last though. So having the sponsors help out with that. But even with charging at $35, I'm pretty sure we would have enough to cover all the color that we would need for the run.
Sounds like fun.
And then I was thinking like the way the route would end, we could always start it at the skate park somehow and end it at that cul-de-sac on Riata that ends at Field 4 and everybody finishes out in Field 4.
That has the most parking too.
Yeah.
If people are driving to the event, you probably want it over there where there's plenty of parking.
No.
So what if we utilized like City Park, because we have the 2 long stretches, right?
Mhm.
Back and forth, and then also the ball fields.
Yeah.
Because there's a ton of area, we can do like a serpentine race course.
Sure.
Oh, if you just did it
Yeah.
on the field.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, either we have to reach out to the tribes or the high school or both.
Yeah.
So I'm not positive, but
Yeah.
it'd be an avenue to go. That way we keep it all contained in that.
In
area.
that area, yeah, I was really didn't want to cross any kind of main streets.
Which one, City Park?
The
The
one
city ball fields.
four baseball
Okay,
fields.
gotcha.
All 4 ball fields.
Gotcha.
I think that's a good idea too, because
Yeah.
it cuts down on stray dogs.
Huh.
That's why I thought I thought you were talking about Western Park, I was gonna say.
I didn't know Kim did my stray dog.
No, for real, for real.
I did
Especially
not
on
mean
that
to
side of
laugh.
town.
You just gotta laugh at that one. That one hurts.
Yeah, that one hurts.
So,
I love utilizing the park, I think, yeah,
That would be
maybe
cool.
even some sort of like obstacle,
We can
or
set
like right
stations
around the
that way.
cone.
Yeah.
The-
Yeah, I'm open to any
Pits
ideas
with
you guys wanna
spikes.
do.
Could do pools with paint in them so you can.
You have to
run through
jump
them.
in.
It's gonna be a lot of work, but that'd be a lot of fun.
I think it would be a lot of fun.
I like the
So.
idea of doing it at the city park, because when you first brought it up, I was like, we're gonna get chased by dogs.
Is this wet? Is this dry?
It's dry.
So it's powder,
Mhm.
and it just sticks? That's, okay. Gotcha.
Kaylee, can you send me the link and let's order one and see what it looks like?
Sure.
Because I've never been to one of these. Well, no, I just want to see,
I know.
let's get a sample kit. Sometimes they'll send you a sample kit if you ask.
Are there videos?
Yeah, you can go on
Doesn't the Wallace do one at the end of the school year?
Oh, I
Usually
didn't
at
know.
the junior high.
The junior high usually
Mhm.
does one.
Oh, I didn't know
They
that.
did them for the
That's
8th
pretty cool.
graders.
And then also, I didn't know if we, with that, I didn't
And they
know if
did
we
it
want to
over at
do
the
an age
football
limit.
field.
Does it matter? It's a fun run. It's open to families. Okay.
I'll let everybody do
I
it.
can tell you.
Yeah.
Candy and I have done a few of them. We've done the powder and then we've done the night one where you glow.
Oh.
And if you don't allow kids, you're limiting, because there's
No,
so many
yeah.
moms with strollers and all that that are walking.
Do we
across
want to
it.
charge though is my question, like
I don't think
$35?
more than a stroller
So
and
like at 3 and up,
5 and up or
5
something,
and up,
yeah.
you charge the $35
Right.
fee. Okay.
or
How
even
far
if
are
you
we
make it
walking?
price.
Yeah,
Because
what
a
do you guys think?
5-year-old probably is not gonna be able to walk
Well, if we do the park.
a bunch of miles.
2 miles is a pretty
That's
good,
not
pretty
very-
good day
I
for,
will say that we do the Pat Tillman run, and there's little ones that do the 4.2 miles. They,
Okay.
they,
And,
they
but most of them, I mean, are in color, but there are some.
I don't,
That's
but
why- that's why-
no. Just kidding.
Where's my Uber?
Pick me up.
You're gonna have trouble stretching 2 miles in a little spot.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, it does, like I said, it doesn't have to be, it's not a qualifying run for anything, so it
So
can
like,
be.
why doesn't it just start like at the city park, right? So then
I'll
you
look at
go,
a
and then
map.
it can end right there where all those other events you guys wanna have,
Well,
you know?
yeah, I mean, could you start like at field 2
Mhm.
and then go out onto the road and come around and come in field 4 and then
Go
have
around
the
school,
obstacles?
maybe?
Yeah, and then just come in at field 4 and have the obstacles.
I was thinking
Yeah.
skate park down, like around.
18th?
Yeah.
And if we're able to somehow secure the school, run it through the big fence, and then maybe around, I don't know, all over there.
They're not letting you hand out
have the
flyers
school.
anymore. They're not
Yeah,
letting
up
groups do
18th,
things on campus anymore,
down
so that might
Joshua,
be.
and then back up 16th.
So I'm
Fine,
looking
but-
at the foam run that like Melissa and I did in Phoenix. If you pre-register, it's $15. If you register a week before, it's 40. If you register day of, it's 45.
Okay.
So the price is like
15?
right there. It's 15 right now because the event's in May. So if I were to buy it right now, it's 15 because I'm the early bird. But it's 40 up to a week before and then 45 day of.
So what do we want to do, 30 for an early bird?
I would say 35 is fine, and then you, if you wanted to do kid pricing, you could do 20 for kid pricing, and maybe the
Sure.
kids don't get,
All of it, maybe just.
yeah.
Yeah, we could do it that way. And this was a kit I had found online. We don't have to use these people. We can just order the color from them and reach out to,
What about,
yeah, and buy our own t-shirts and reach out to like Junko, and if they're sponsors, like David Plunkett, we could put David Plunkett on a white t-shirt and people are all running with David Plunkett on their back, you know what I mean? If we wanted to do that.
What about like, let's say, single mom has 2 kids and she's got them in a stroller. Are we gonna charge her for those 2 kids?
But then the stroller now.
Right, okay.
I think it just depends. If they're like 5 and up, then we'll charge for
Right.
each 5-year-old,
right.
you know,
Maybe
they want a
for
kid.
actual running
Yeah.
kid,
yeah,
per running person.
yeah.
Right.
Like to receive a kit, right? They can go, but to receive the whole
Right,
kit,
okay.
they won't, okay.
Not to go back on the dog subject, but we're not allowing dogs, right?
Yeah.
Can't run with your
No
dog.
dogs.
Oh,
I vote no, but.
I would say no, but it would be really fun.
It would be really cool, but.
Dogs go on the Desert Dash.
I know.
We can make a separate dog event.
We are, Christmas. Okay.
And
Are
they're
we
all,
doing a pet contest?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So color run, what I'm hearing is
Yes.
we're good with the 14th. We're good with City Ballpark. Kaylee's gonna get with Steve to outline a path.
Okay.
You're gonna get with Amy about the event, about Eventbrite and just doing the registering online. Is there anything that you need help from us at this point?
I like this
Not,
one.
I was gonna ask what flyer would you guys prefer?
I like this one.
I like this one too.
I like this one.
I do too. This one's cool. This one sold me on the whole event. It
Yeah,
looks
I like
fun.
this one.
While
Looks
we're,
fun.
while we're talking
less
about
color.
flyers, we're gonna have a lot of flyers coming up. This is one thing I've been working with, all of the department heads in town hall, is using the same font, the town seal.
Okay.
All of that kind of stuff, so, I know that's, you know, kind of a
Can-
lot to think about.
Can you add that
We can
on?
send it to you. and
Yeah,
you
can I
add it.
email
Yeah,
it
can
to
you
you?
just send this to me and I'll
Mhm.
put together, you know, something similar, I think I have the last Halloween.
Yep, you did that for me last year.
So-
I think that this is cool, but I like this, like, just not white in the background, but I think this picture is cool.
Okay.
Cause it really looks fun.
Really
Yeah.
attractive.
We have like
Yeah.
30 different colored papers back there, so
Yeah.
I'll make
on
a few
colored
different
paper.
copies
But
on
this
colored
sells it
paper and
big
we'll see what
time.
it looks like.
So we're gonna say, $35 entry fee. And then,
For
th-
5 and
and
up?
then we wanna indicate children in a stroller. Children in strollers are
Sure.
free.
Okay.
I would just say 5 and up.
Okay,
Can we
5,
just have kids for free if they don't get anything? So if I have a 7-year-old.
5 and
that
up
doesn't
if they
want
wanna
a t-shirt
receive
or
a kid.
Anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. children-free,
Complicated.
Or like, do they get a award if they
Under
finish
12
first, or
something
like,
like that.
is there,
Yeah,
we would probably do like a men's division, a women's
to
division.
get
and, like,
something, they need to be registered though. They
Right.
need to participate at the end events, whatever, they need to be registered.
Right.
Registered participants or
Need to be paid,
paid participants.
need to be paid participants.
Once Kaylee and Steve get together and map out like a course, I volunteer Melissa and I as tribute to walk it to see how far it is.
Okay.
How long it takes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna check if there's any dogs.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of dogs around the school.
Okay,
Like,
So
So-
children-free ages,
Yeah, I mean,
5 and
I
under, I
that's
think
a
is
good
what they
idea.
said.
5 and under,
I think that's
okay.
what
I do
they
that
said was
walk all
5
the
and
time.
under.
Okay.
Yeah, that's normally,
I don't ever
Ours
see
is-
any out of their yards. They might bark at you.
But they're not-
Did we want to do an early, okay, so the only reason I'm saying the $30 early bird, okay, is because if we do an early bird, that allows people to start paying before we have to buy the packs.
Yeah,
So that we could have the money situated in the account to buy the packs
What do we want to do for early
before-
bird price? 25?
before we have to order.
I would say 25 because the
25
kids are
early
only,
bird?
what, 15?
Kids aren't registered.
kids.
Kids.
Oh, the kids, yeah.
Do you have the
Yeah.
ability to do that right now? Or what has to happen before we can take money?
We need to set up like a website that people register. They click a link, they register, money they have to pay in order to get registered.
So what entails with that?
I would have to get with Amy, get a website
Yeah.
set up and
Through
she can.
Eventbrite.
Yeah, the Eventbrite does that for you. So I'll get with Megan and see, we could probably set up a special, we might even have a line item already for program donations for Parks and Rec. So yeah, that's where we could store that money for the meantime. I would say let's wait on really solidifying and establishing that fee until we know what everything else is gonna cost us.
Good idea.
Okay.
Good idea. So we'll decide and discuss a fee at the next meeting.
So early bird would just probably be $10 off of what the fee would be.
Or
And-
5.
Or
Don't-
5. I
don't-
mean, I'm
don't-
comfortable with 5.
Yeah, don't.
honestly.
Don't take away what you're doing, money.
The only reason I'm saying early bird is because, like, me personally, I would want to save my money, so I would go in and register early. But then on the same token, that does put the money in the account for us to go ahead and have that money to buy the supplies with.
Right.
So
Do we want to cap it at only certain amount of participants, or does it matter? I mean,
I don't think we'll have enough to cap.
okay,
Just a deadline to register, obviously.
okay.
What about sponsors?
That would be helpful.
How many do you need?
Or am I okay, I just had another question as well. So like, with the map up of the route, we're gonna have room for bystanders to participate, and we're gonna have a booth that will sell them powder so they can participate even if they don't wanna run or walk.
That's a good idea.
Because as long as there's like designated area, okay, we're gonna line up through these areas as people go by, you know, just like when you go and you wanna get fish food for the fish and you spin the thing and you throw it.
Yeah.
People, if they don't wanna run, they can buy a bunch of powder and throw it at them.
That's a good idea.
The grass in the field one.
And if we don't have a rectangle,
That one to adults.
if we don't have a
We could
rectangle,
just kind of map it like whatever the distance is, you know,
based upon
kind
how
of,
many sponsors we end up with.
yeah, divide it by how many sponsors we have.
And-
divide 'em that
I
way.
would get sponsors for water too.
Okay.
Circle K will donate the water.
But I was gonna say, just on your cap, that we've gone to one where they let 50 people go through, and then they made us wait for 3 minutes, and then let another 50 go through, so you can, if you get too many, you can break it up into sections.
Okay.
With the $250 donation for the sponsor, I wonder if, I mean, especially if we're gonna be selling powder, if part of that money could be to buy like hula hoops
Sure.
that they have to step through, because we were talking about the obstacle courses, because there possibly are, but I'm just using like an example. Like, I mean, and some of, like, I don't know, like I have an agility ladder, throwing that down, or hurdles to step over if they elect to.
Right.
Because the obstacle stuff, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Especially if you had hula hoops that really literally were full of like little swimming pools full of powder.
Sure. Our
So-
older people can,
Walk around them, right.
please.
The older ones can walk around them, but the kids that want to jump in the,
Yeah,
could.
yeah.
So the obstacle is a great idea.
I
So,
can give you a price of the website that said how many participants, they'll give you a amount of how much color you'll need. And we could add a little extra, add more for those little swimming pools.
Okay, it's just an idea, we don't have
Yeah.
to do it. But the obstacles do sound kind of fun. All right, so at the next meeting, we'll come back with how we're gonna pay Amy, the route, Steve, and kind of some other breakdowns on. Do you want us to go ahead and start reaching out to sponsors?
Yeah, go for
Okay, so sponsors, if you can find a sponsor, $250, bring your information back.
I would wait
Yes.
till one more meeting till we have, let's solidify,
Okay,
hey, we're having a fun run. Oh, we're not sure how many people. Oh, I don't have a flyer yet. Yeah.
And the sponsor gets what out of it?
I'm
You
thinking
get
they,
to stand on a corner and throw powder.
I'm thinking $250 and you get, I don't know how, if they, the sponsor can provide their banner right on the front of that table, wherever the people are standing, to throw the color so they're getting
Be on the
advertisement.
flyer too.
And are we just doing white shirts?
I think the shirt comes in the packet. I wanna say it's a white shirt. It should be a white shirt, but then the bandana and the sunglasses and the color are the color that you choose.
Okay, so instead of like getting like the pre-made packet, we could essentially make our own.
Exactly.
And do sponsor's logo on a white shirt, just kind of small on the back or something.
So are you wearing a white shirt so they can like smoke you when you're going by?
yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That's why
So
we're selling powder.
you end at the finish line with color in your hair, on your face, on your shirt.
Mandy, Melissa, do you have like a picture of what you guys look like when you were done? Maybe you could show.
Of course they do, Jennifer.
Of course, I know, that's why I asked, I figured as much. It was just that smirky little grin that was going on.
The best part was afterwards, they had a DJ going on, and the DJ would just like be playing music, and all of a sudden have people in the crowd, and he would just be throwing it at you, like
Yeah.
in the air.
You got even more color at the end.
Color or glow?
Color.
That one was
That one-
specifically color, but the
It was
the
foam
run
color,
was foam.
so it glowed
yeah.
at night.
Oh, super cool.
But I've done a day one, and it wasn't with Mandy's hair.
Here's betting.
Because we did it in house. Yeah, if you have a DJ afterwards,
I
This
totally
is kind
support
of
this idea.
what you
I
look
love
like.
this idea.
we will be there.
So you get a bunch of color.
Wait,
all
didn't you
over.
say there is a DJ?
So you could have a picture
I-
booth at the end or something to take pictures? or
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, we can put a booth up. I don't know if you guys want to have some sort of food truck at the end or something.
What's the DJ for if everybody's walking?
At the end, when they get to the end.
Oh, gotcha.
So we'd have to have a spot to end it, where
Well, I
you
was
get
thinking,
2,000
You-
people.
like ending at the park.
I was thinking ending it, at the cul-de-sac on Field 4. Like people kind of go over that cul-de-sac
Yeah.
into Field 4. That would be the end of it. That's what I was
There's bleachers right there,
thinking.
too, so people could
Those,
just sit
they are
down right
so
there.
sketchy.
I would,
Okay, it's a
I would
night
think
one.
the grass section
That's the night one, that's
would
the
be the
glow
best
one.
place to end
We'd
it.
have to talk to
What
them.
about like for the, like skate park in between that grass section, in between field one and
Yes.
skate park?
I love it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That would be the best area.
So the food trucks and stuff pull in like
Yeah, that way you don't have to
between Field
move
2 and
around.
Field 1 right there in that big
Spot.
parking lot.
Start
And there are bleachers there by Field 2. Maybe we could end it somewhere in there so that the food wagons can already be set up. He can have, there's electricity right there by the bathrooms and stuff for all of his DJ equipment.
So she said the start and the finish should be the same so that people don't have to move around,
That's fine too.
you know, wherever we
In the
start.
middle.
Right?
Right,
So start in the middle to the right, end it
Do
to
their
the
thing.
left. Yeah.
right. But that way the DJ could be there for the beginning and the end.
I think
And the
that's great.
food truck doesn't have to move and,
Because at the softball game, the food trucks park in the little dirt area,
Right.
which works out pretty good.
There's a lot of parking between Field 2 and Field 3
And the
back over
bathrooms
in
will
there.
be done by then.
And the
Yep.
bathrooms, yeah, so, okay. All right, so we're good with this. We're gonna move on to trunk or treat pretty much at this point, for the most part. Like, I have to put a little bit of effort into it, but a lot of it really just takes care of itself. It's always on Halloween. And we really just start advertising and putting stuff out there. There was some new stuff that we did last year. Amy, I don't know who, is it you or Roxanne that gets a hold of the bouncers?
I think I called last year.
Okay, can you check on the bouncers?
I'll have Roxanne check on the bouncers.
Okay, and then are you guys wanting to do the hot dogs and water and stuff at the concession stand for the first like 200 kids like we did last year? So they had,
How did that go? Did it
Yeah.
go good?
I think,
It went phenomenal.
I think it went
Then yeah,
phenomenal.
for sure.
Okay, so were you,
We sold out.
okay,
So,
Eagles is good to do that again? If I approach Annette?
That's what
Should
we
we-
have the concession stands for, is for this committee.
Should we do
Mainly.
more this year?
If we can get more food, yeah.
Well,
Sure.
how fast did it sell out last year?
Wait, did it
It
sell or
was-
is it
Or
free?
given out,
Free.
how,
Okay.
They got hot
Then how
dogs,
fast did
chip, and
they
a
go?
water.
how fast did
They
they
were
go?
gone probably in about 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were gone
And
probably
we're out
30
there
to
for
45.
how long? Like 3 hours?
2 hours.
2 hours?
2 hours, but we have food trucks too. So do we want to have the food trucks again?
Did
So
those do well? Yes.
I'm gonna say yes, just because I know
Love
what we're
having
doing for
food.
the Christmas event, and I know it's coming up. But if you start charging vendors now for things, especially food, then you can go into the Christmas fund or the Parks and Rec fund, so then you have money to fund your next project and your next project after that. If you guys don't start charging, you're not gonna have anything to fund that next project over and over and over. So yes, you can have food trucks. If they're giving something away for free, then yeah, they can be there for free. But if they're charging for food, because you have to think, if you're charging a taco truck $50,
Yeah, Tierra Caliente made a
You're gonna
lot
make
of money
that-
last year.
me and my husband will go and buy 2 plates and they're $10 each. So just with me and my husband, they pretty much already halfway to make their
Yeah,
money back.
her family and my family, they made their money back.
Same.
So
I
I
eat a
would
lot of
say
food.
you can have the free ones and limit it to the first X amount, but then you also have food trucks for those that didn't get them.
How many did we do last year?
250.
Yeah, I wanna say 250.
It was 250. I know, because buying the
Well, if that
chips
went
didn't
well-
come in an even number.
Right?
Then we might as well do that. Yeah, we might as well do the first 250 again.
Sure.
And then maybe, did we not charge for the food vendors last year?
We did not, because it was the first year, didn't know how it was going to go,
And it went
kind of
really
feeling
well.
it out, and it went really well. So this year, I think we should charge
I think it's
$50.
$50
$50 a vendor.
usually.
I think we should tell them that they have to be out at a certain time, because I remember the guys trying to open the streets back up, but then there's people lined up in the streets trying to still order food.
Yeah, at that event, it's always,
Yeah.
so many people just
So
sticking
maybe
around.
like stop selling
It is what it
food
is.
at.
But it is on Monday
In a
this.
different direction then maybe?
It's on a Monday?
No, it's just,
Yeah, it was a weekend last
In
week. It was a
line
weekend day
and-
last week.
it was still going. That was the last place to close, actually.
It's a
Yeah,
Sunday
so
night, I think, this year.
We didn't open that
It's a
road until.
Monday, Sunday or Monday. It's either Sunday or Monday.
We'll tell them, all right, we gotta open the road and.
Did the trunks fully surround the park last year? Or were we kind of
Oh, we were fully submitted. We were fully around the park last year.
I can't remember.
Second time
Sorry.
ever. It was so happy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was fun.
Okay. So
Charge vendors.
charge the vendors $50. So we want the food trucks.
Vendors. Sorry,
Food
food
vendors.
vendors.
Charging food vendors.
Food vendors that are charging.
Yes.
Right.
Candy people are obviously.
Yeah, we're
And,
already
and
buying
then,
hundreds of dollars worth of candy.
bingo. And then we will do the hot dogs again. You'll get a hold of the bouncers. I'll get a hold of Ruben for the games. And then we'll start that. Can you send me the flyer from last year so I can modify it, adjust it a little bit, change it up a little bit? And then we can print it and,
Do we have a theme? Do we ever do a theme?
no, we never do.
Okay, just curious.
We just do the 2 prizes, of
I know
which
your prizes were
wonderful
cute.
Melissa already has the trophies made. We do the most creative and the most scary.
Got it.
Do the lamest too. The lamest costume
Oh,
ever.
no.
We don't do costumes, we do trunks.
No, the
Chamber does costumes.
But this year I'm actually passing it to S Club, because S Club wants to do it, so
Okay.
the high school S Club wants to do it, so they're actually gonna judge the things, but we were still gonna ask for donations for businesses for the prizes. So last year it was like infant, up to 6, 7 to 12, teen and family or something, so if we could still get prizes donated, so S Club can give them out, but they actually want to do a judging contest where they walk across the stage, where the last couple of years it was just, for the chamber, I just found people and I was like, you go find the best infant costume, I don't care if it's cute, funny, whatever draws you to that infant costume.
Right.
They get a prize, so.
What if you pre-picked out the prize and then just told the sponsors how much it was? That might be easier. for
It
sponsors?
haven't been much in all honesty. So like the movies, Jennifer generally gets for the family. She gets like a popcorn bucket, a couple movies, some candy, and throws it in. So they're never really much.
Right. It just takes the stress off of trying to figure out what.
So we
Yeah.
can offer them. If you'd
Yeah.
rather, we'll pick something out for you. You can give a $25 donation, give a $25 donation, we'll pick something out for you.
Sign me up any day for that.
Okay, so that being said, before we move on to Christmas in the Park, I want to ask one more thing. So Kaylee had a wonderful idea. I'm not going to steal credit for this, but in most towns, when you drive into the town, when they have big events going on, they have the big banners hung above the highways.
You have to get a permit for that.
I know.
Right? Isn't it
Yeah.
hard?
You have to get ADOT approval.
ADOT.
Oh, so that's
That's
why
why
we
we
don't do
haven't
that,
done
because
That's
it
why
takes,
we no longer do it.
It
So
takes
Yeah.
ADOT
it
approval.
ended for
It takes a lot.
I wasn't sure what the rule was.
The last time that I took it down was actually my first year here across Arizona. Actually, it broke and we had issues and we had to shut down 95.
sucks.
So
What if they decorate, you know, the signs?
we're
where they
no
come
longer
in?
do that
Like
from that
the-
point on.
Remember it says the Parker sign? Those new signs, like if you decorate them for the theme, like seasonal, I
Like
guess.
welcome to Parker.
Like the,
We can maybe put something
like
around
some
that.
Halloween stuff on there, and then when it's Thanksgiving,
And
put
we've got a brand new
turkey.
sign. This
Uh,
lady over
yeah.
here is in
I
charge
saw
of
that.
that
gonna
sign.
Or
say-
something like that.
So we have two brand new digital signs in town. One is going at the Power Sports,
Mhm.
River Power Sports, River Sports. They are putting in a big, I mean, it's there already.
I
And they
saw
said
that.
they'd like to use that for community,
Nice.
featuring highlights of students and, football and basketball and all that good stuff. I'm sure they'd be completely on board with, trunk or treat,
Events.
Pop Harvey Park, 6 o'clock.
We already worked it out. I've already sent them all the home games for football, volleyball, and track. And they said they'll do it for any community ones. And then on a smaller note, there's the one at Western Park too, that I have put events up there. Granted, in wintertime, I don't know how we're gonna balance all the events that go on. So we'll play with it. Right now, it hasn't been so bad. The most we've had in 1 week is 3. So it hasn't been so bad, but in wintertime, it might be going for a long time with all the events.
We also have PD's signboard as well, so,
So we could put PD's sideboard up on that side, since there's nothing up over there. There's an idea, Kaylee. Okay. All
I
right.
was just driving through Phoenix back from my vacation last week and I saw what did I tell you?
I know, yeah.
Somewhere, and it had it as I was driving and I was like,
The events we put
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
it's a great idea.
Because we used to do it, but then.
And
I
trunk or
remember
treat what?
Hearing
In
about
Passport,
ADOT.
I was just.
Yeah, that
verifying.
should be,
So
'cause those are-
We did add the Christmas, Melissa added the Christmas and trunk or treat is in the passport this year, so that's up there as well.
So just so you guys know as well, the day before trunk or treat is when Peace is doing their family fun day event at the same park, so probably won't be a huge deal by any means, but. it's the day
We've
before.
actually had that happen in the past. This will not be the first time that that's happened. And it's made it difficult trying to get games, because a lot of the businesses are just, they don't want to do 2 events in a weekend. So on the weekends that happens, we usually, the week that's happened, we've had less, when Halloween and her event occur close to each other, within a few days, there's always less trunks and less participation.
Be that way this
Not
year,
town
yeah,
kiddo
we do it on
participation.
Sunday, and
Just-
then trunk or treat is Monday, so.
Yeah, business and adult participation is always down, not the kiddos, but the business and the adult, because they're tired. So thank you. But it's not the first time that's happened. Okay. I know, I kind of wish they would pick a different weekend. All right, because we can't do anything about the 31st being Halloween. We can't change that. There's nothing we can do. All right, so that resolves that one. Last one would be the Christmas in the park. Da-da-da-da. So, so many wonderful, wonderful ideas, but I think we're gonna have some limitations based upon the availability of what we can do. So initially, we had talked about opening with a dog, puppies on parade in Christmas costumes, and they would do the square around the park. The entry fee would be a bag of kitty litter, bag of cat food, bag of dog food. And then we would have some prizes for the winners of the best Christmas costumed puppies. And ARF is gonna sponsor and kind of run that. And then so let's start with, I think DJ Fabian is gonna DJ everything. So there will be someone as a master, he's not a DJ, he is a master of events for the day. He's a master of events. So we'll start with the dog parade as a kickoff at 3 o'clock. And then at the park, there is this square where the basketball court is. This actually has a whole rectangle sidewalk. So they can start in and walk the sidewalk, having DJ set up, wait a second, my bad. Square right here around the park. And then having that kick it off. So from there, we would go into events from 3 to 6. What we had originally talked about was having food booths set up here, okay? Bingham doing a Christmas caroling ride with the library kind of staying on the float and doing Christmas caroling with people. And it would be like the hayride from Easter. And you would load on agency and go around the park, and then load on agency and go around the park. And then in this area would be bouncers. So when you ask about trunk or treat, if you can ask about Christmas, bouncers, Ruben and Calvary have already just said they would do games. And then the Elks Lodge approaching them about in the playground area, doing a snowball battle. And then in the volleyball area, talk to Kaylee about hosting a volleyball tournament inside of Players on one part, having the Walmart bakery host it like a gingerbread decorating. And on the other side, an ugly Christmas sweater decorating competition. And then having a bazaar, like their Chamber's last potpourri of the year, being set up over here. And in the concession stand, Charlie would come over and we'd have free waters, and he would be doing like hot apple cider, hot chocolate, seasonal stuff. And that would go on until 5:30. And at 5:30, all of those wonderful ugly t-shirts would get to do the parade around the park for a couple of prizes. And then boom, done cleanup, because the Seroptimus, pardon my slip, the Seroptimus Christmas lighted parade usually starts about 6:15, 6:30, and then that would run its normal route over here to the senior center. So what we were proposing is that at the senior center, they can choose to either come on down Mojave and come here and just set their floats up here so that they have a little more time to show off what they've done. And the parade typically, she said, ends by 7-ish. So 7:15, Leah Castro and Laura Kramer would open with some Christmas carols, again having Fabian as the master of events. And then whomever Amy and Steve decide, mayor says something, and we do the official tree lighting. The concession stand will stay open, but this will have all been cleaned up at 6 o'clock, and Pace will host a movies in the park, and if there are any volleyball teams that are left over, to wrap up the volleyball competition. So the volleyball competition would be like a $10, we talked about that being like a $10 entry fee, $5 would go back to the prize, and then $5 would go towards future events, right? That's what we said, right?
Yes, but I do want to change a few things if you don't mind.
Go.
So the Red Ribbon Week already has a stage set up for their family fun day. So I did ask who sets up their stage if they will leave it one more day for Halloween. So then we can use that for Halloween, but if they'll bring that same stage for Christmas in the park, and then we can use the for the dog parade and the ugly sweater.
We don't need the stage for Halloween. No, I'd rather have the room, because that park area is full of games.
But I'm just saying the stage will be there for the dog thing, so we don't have to necessarily parade them around the whole entire park. They can literally just go up the stage and down the stage if we get it for the Christmas event.
Oh, perfect, yeah, okay, I got you.
And then we can use it for the ugly sweater as well. And then like you were saying, the local bazaar, it won't necessarily all be local bazaar, because I have hit businesses up to have a booth with a game and information to hand out. And so basically, if they're there giving stuff away for free, their fee is free. If they're selling anything, like if I do have some crafters who still have Christmas decorations that they want to sell, theirs is 20, and then the food vendors is 50. All of it's going back to the town of Parker. So all
Except
of
for the
it is done.
bazaar. The bazaar, $20 stays with,
We're doing it for you guys too.
Oh.
I got it for you.
okay.
So that way it all goes to future events and keep doing that. The t-shirt, the ugly shirt contest, I got somebody to donate the shirts today. And Pace, possibly, they're not 100% committed yet, will have the arts and crafts that you can decorate, you know, the bells, the pom-poms, all the other stuff that you can put on your shirt. So that's all in the works as well too. I did already confirm the hot chocolate and all that, so.
So
Won't just
here's,
be a local bazaar, I wanted to clear that.
Oh,
It will be booths with like information pamphlets, because it's a great time for people to hand out what they offer and stuff like that too.
and then we will have two huge highlights during the Christmas event, and that is the Grinch and Cindy Lou Who will be making an appearance.
You're just so happy.
I know, I'm so happy about that. The Grinch and Cindy Lou Who will be making an appearance.
That was a lot of stuff for our first Christmas event. And
I'm not worried about it. We do so many events.
I'm worried about it because you're gonna close the event down, have a million people trying to scurry away to get to a parade, and then scurry back to do a tree lighting.
A lot of scurrying going on.
Well, the timeline was 45 minutes from beginning to, beginning of parade to back to light the tree.
So you think we need to adjust?
I think we need to scale some stuff down.
Well,
Or start it sooner.
so a couple things. I've been here a little short time. The likelihood of 6 of us being there, and maybe 7, is not a reality.
Right.
I've worked events. This is a lot. So,
But if you assign each one, like, the elves are gonna do the snowball. I'm taking care of, like, the vendors and the map. Then you have the Optimus doing stuff, so you're assigning it to them and let them do it, so you don't have to go around and do all.
That's exactly the thought.
Okay.
Like ARF is doing the dog parade.
Like they're all doing their own thing.
S Club is doing the
We're
ugly
just
sweater.
providing the location.
Yeah.
and
For the same day.
and who does the lighted parade?
Seroptimus does, and that's something they've done for years,
Right.
so it's not
So,
anything that's.
I know it's a crazy question, but what if we did a lighted float where the floats were stationary, where nobody had to leave? I know it's not a parade, but what if the floats were decorated around where they didn't have
That's
to move?
what we want to end it.
Yeah, and I think
Around
that
the
was
park.
the idea, was to have all the floats come back over to the park at the end.
Well,
So
I was
people
just,
could stay at the park
well,
if
I
they
was just
want.
piggybacking off of what she said, to everybody leave and go get your float, do the parade, and then show back up.
That would be a Seroptimus thing.
I know, I'm just asking opinions.
Would
I
the
think
floats
if they
end
wanna
at the?
watch, if they don't have a float, if they have a float, yes, they're gonna have to leave. But if they don't have a float, and I can tell you, I've done the lighted parade, and I have my car decorated long before, because there's no way I'm waiting 30 minutes before the parade to decorate a float. So it's decorated, it's like homecoming where you do it
Mhm.
well in advance.
And you could
So
leave
yes,
it over
if you
there.
have a parade, you're
Just
gonna
leave it
wanna
over
leave,
there.
but then you can also stay at the park and just wait for the floats to come there too.
I was gonna say, are they finishing at the park for the lighting?
Well, that was kind of the concept, but I don't think that that's going to be a reality.
Finishing at the senior
They're
center,
finishing at the they're
but they can
following-
come to the
Yeah,
park.
they're
and park
following the
around
regular
park.
parade route. We don't have enough barricades and supplies to shut down the whole parade route all the way up to agency over here. We just don't have the materials to do it. My concern is that you're gonna stop everything and tell people to leave, or, hey, we're stopping everything for an hour in the middle of an event. I say either you keep it going or just do stuff afterwards. It seems like a real tight time crunch in between, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with Amy. I think there's a lot that you have planned, and I think it's actually too much. The original thought process that I had when I actually proposed this years ago was to have a Christmas tree lighting event and have, some caroling, some singing, some music maybe some food after the lighted parade. All of the stuff prior to the parade, I didn't, and I don't think that it works well. Just to her point, you're leaving the park to go over to the parade route to watch the parade, and then you're gonna be coming back to the park to have the tree lighting. The original thought process was just parade, Christmas tree lighting, and stuff after the parade.
What if you did the prior event at Western Park? So it flows a little better. You go from Western to the parade to Pop Harvey. So then it's two separate places. And they could pick whether they do the first event or
Well, I
not.
think you're asking families to spend all day, an 8-hour time period doing this. I think you're gonna lose interest. So all the events and activities prior to the parade, by the time the parade hits, they're gonna be like, all right, I'm tired, kids are tired, let's go. And they're not gonna make it to the parade or the actual lighted tree event, in my opinion. If you're spending all day doing this, they're not gonna,
Yeah, it's a really full day.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I think scaling it down is the way to go, and maybe having some small stuff here and there at the park after the parade, or some small stuff prior to the parade. But I think,
Or
to
2
Amy's
different
point,
days.
relocating people at that
It doesn't work.
and then having them walk over or drive over, I don't see that as a safe thing. And those families that want to walk, that would be fine. But I'm just
Nobody walks
thinking.
in Parker.
Well, they are in
You
January.
certainly could not have parade floats end at the park, because we're talking about a closure from 15th essentially, all the way down to, not 15th
Ninth.
actually, from 17th all the way down to
Ninth.
12th, and then come this way, and then come down Mojave. We don't have anything capable enough to do that. And plus, you're talking about a closure on Agency as well, which includes a huge detour that we have to route traffic around. So you're essentially closing off more than half the town for this event if you try to do something of that nature.
Could the floats drive on their own after the senior center, and then we just have
That would be
designated parking
possible.
around the park?
That is certainly possible, yes. Once it ends there, yes, if they want to drive the float and we don't close all these roads down
Right.
over here, that is doable, absolutely. But we would have a closure around the park already set up, but
Yeah.
having everything kind of closed down to get to that point, that's a whole other thing.
Right, because it would be optional anyway, if they want to go park at the park after the parade.
Sure.
We don't have any say over the parade. That's Sir Optimus.
Right. And it doesn't work doing 2 different days?
No, because
No.
the whole point you're selling it is instead of having 20 small little tiny events, you're having one big community
day.
event. So if you're splitting in 2 days, it's not one big community event. You're back to having movies in the park this day, Calvary Church doing their games this day. All these are different. So for me, it was a community event. We all pulled together. And then you can't decorate cookies in the dark. So that's why we did have to start it earlier, because you need daylight for some of them, and then you need dark for tree lighting and stuff like that. So it's kind of trying to find the good balance of what you can use daylight and what you can use nightlight for.
Glow on the cookies
There we go.
and powder.
Well, I totally,
I love
I hear
the
what you're saying
movie.
about the leaving and coming back, and leaving is, yeah.
It made my head spin a little. But I could grasp it if it's something that we think we can do. But it is a lot.
I just think 45 minutes between the start of the parade and getting back for Christmas carols and a tree lighting is gonna put people in a rush, and that's a safety issue.
The parade only takes 20 minutes. So we actually added longer for them to actually drive the extra distance and park.
What if we just did 3 to 5?
Walk to your car.
Was that
You
not
have
enough
the
time?
big-
That's true. I wasn't thinking about the actual part.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the participants, the float, giving them the extra time.
Could you do 3 to 5 or 2 to 5 and then have that hour and a half between? Maybe just change the timeline a little bit? Because it's nice weather. I mean, you're not going to be hot. You can start earlier in the day and have something fun. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
You can play
opposed
with
to
the
it.
times, maybe?
The 3:30 to 5:30, like some of that stuff could come out, like I don't, I mean, volleyball, yeah, it's cool, but
I know, I was thinking the
you
same
could
thing.
take the volleyball out, you know.
Well,
there's-
the
Evanders-
purpose was,
We're having Evander's volleyball tournament in November anyways.
Yeah, like there's a couple things that could be taken out and not.
the
make it
purpose
too
was trying
rushed.
to use all sections of the park. That was, the
To have
thought was trying to use all
Got a
the
lot of stuff
sections.
going on.
So that, if you're not interested in this, go do that, go do this. But to have all of the sections of the park being utilized for 2 hours.
But if you did like, or
Yeah,
you
we
could do
could.
cornhole instead of volleyball on this.
If you have a question mark,
That's a good
this
idea.
is Snowball sponsored by the Elks, and with a question mark.
Question marks were when we haven't confirmed yet.
We haven't confirmed with
We
the,
did talk to the Elks and they are gonna do something.
yeah.
And is that like, what, just ice?
Do you just play with the snow or
So initially,
dodgeball?
they sell those big buckets of like pillowy balls that are fuzzy on the outside. They call them
so
snowballs.
Okay.
Right.
So not actual snow.
No, but then someone from the Elks said that they have in the past with recreation got snow blowers to come out here and have set up
Not a bad.
in the field snow blowers and covered it in snow
That would
and
be
let the
fun for
kids
the tree
play in
lighting.
snow.
I
But then
remember-
we're gonna come back to, I didn't wanna say anything about that till we had talked about the concept of covering all that area in snow because snow melts
Well,
and you have water.
We could do that with
and
the
my-
tree lighting ceremony. Shoot
and
the snow.
you have that throwing a snowball and it pops somebody in the eye. I've done it. I've been down that road. You throw a snowball at your buddy and you hit him in the eye. What about that?
I don't know, I grew up in the snow, so.
Snowball fights, it's kind of like dirt clod fights. I mean, it's gonna happen, but like, I mean, do we really want
So do we
these
need
little
to
guys
decide
throwing?
anything? Or what's going on?
Stages, so this is
Yeah,
all
we are, and
discussion and
We're
planning.
still just planning. So maybe we could toy around with the times. Maybe do a bigger gap in between the parade and the end of our first part of our event. Maybe like
Does
a
it really
2 to
make
5
snow?
or 2 to 5:30 or something.
snow blowers,
I
yeah,
don't
there's
know.
snow.
Really?
It's our goal to
They
keep
used
them
to,
there for 6 hours.
When like snowball, when they don't have.
Super cool.
Yeah, I-
Yeah.
And just have a big event.
Right.
But we did have a pause in the middle. The problem with, I'll be honest, moving things too far back in the nighttime is we are getting kids to stay there longer because the movie is an hour and 40 minutes. So if we're pushing that back to 8 o'clock, they are staying even longer. And with the tree lighting, honestly, when we talked, we didn't think it would be much more than
15 minutes.
being a couple carols. The mayor says
talk,
something, you hit that
you light it.
emergency button and the light comes on the tree. That's really it. You're not gonna hang out after the tree lighting, so that's why we were thinking then they can walk right over to the movie.
I like
But we
that.
would let the food booth stay. So if you wanted to stay after, the food vendors would all be there. So you could stay after and get hot chocolate and stay in the park and
I love the
Did
second
somebody
half.
already say this, but can we all just all go to the front of Pop Harvey Park and the floats just drive by? I know that's not our thing, it's Sir Optimus thing, but that way nobody has to leave and go
I
anywhere.
thought that too, just.
We
Like,
can't
we all
do
run
the-
in the-
we can't do the road closure.
To that park.
They would have to completely reroute the whole entire parade, and again,
Well,
that's.
can,
what's wrong.
yeah,
Yeah.
can Sir Optimus just change their parade?
So Rocky will do it.
I mean, you could go talk to them.
Just we all go running to the front and just watch, and then they pull
So
around
Rocky
and then
will
we.
change it. It's a matter of the manpower.
No, it's
for the
just not,
staff.
it doesn't make sense from a traffic, standpoint to close more than half the
Agency,
town down.
yeah.
But it's a one-day event.
What if we,
Shut it
what if
down.
we,
I don't
what if
think
we,
you realize how much
1
traffic
square
is
mile.
diverted, for all of the events that we have off of Agency, before our trunk or treat. There is literally hundreds of cars that actually have to do the detour. Not just a couple here and there, not just local traffic, we're talking, a considerable amount gets rerouted. So it's not like this, easy thing, or,
We try
something
to
to
avoid the
take
main
lightly. You're
roads.
talking a very, very busy agency road.
And it can't go like down Mojave to Blake, around, and then back up Navajo.
that's what I was just thinking.
Or
I mean,
could
you
it?
could talk to Sir Optimus.
They could come up my street.
Well, we're still having,
But the
well, then,
senior
the
center
whole
is where
point
it
was to get them in
ends.
front of the Pop Harvey
Yeah.
so they could be at Pop Harvey is the thing. The floats at Pop Harvey.
So it would
So,
just have
but
to start.
To Kaylee's point, if you still have it end at the senior center and then on their own, we don't close any roads, they go over there, cause we're gonna have, you know, those streets, Mojave and Navajo up to, 9th.
The U
The
that
U.
is Mojave, Ninth, and
Yeah,
Navajo
already closed
closed,
anyways.
not agency, just the U, not the circle.
Correct.
Right.
So what if we stage like the Elks? And then do like a different parade route around like Blake and Pocatio?
After that
Mm-mm.
parade?
Just, no, what if
Just
we
leave it
talk
all
to
the
Sir
way on the
Optimist
other
and
side
move
of
the whole thing?
Why don't we,
If you
why
move
don't
the-
we
if you move
stage
the
like,
parade
Have
over
to
to
go
that
talk
side of
to
town, yeah, you take care of all the issues, really, with closing
We'll
down.
just have the parade just go around the park all night.
why couldn't we stage like at the hospital and have the parade come all the way down Navajo?
Okay.
That's a straight shot road.
So you're still shutting down all the roads.
Is that where you're getting the
So if we-
No, you would only shut down Navajo.
Yeah,
But
you're
they're
still shutting
shutting
down
from
all the
13th
roads.
Street all the way.
Yeah, you would still be shutting down, yeah.
Yeah, if we kept it on like this side of agency, we can essentially just shut this side of the town off, basically local traffic. We wouldn't have, you know, shut down our main road right there.
What if
Like
you started
station
at
Elks and
Elks
make
and
like a
then go
different-
around
Yeah, go
Blake
around
and then
Blake.
come back up?
I mean, that would be a Sir Optimist thing.
Yeah,
No,
this
Yeah,
is,
it
right.
would be, it's Town of Parker, Parks and Rec, or not,
Yeah,
Public
they
Works, sorry, because they
submit
do the
to
road
us
closure.
for
They'll go
approval.
wherever the parade route
So,
is.
but that's been the parade route that has worked the best for us, and so that's what we stick with.
So would we ask you
far
to make an
as-
alternate route that might work and maybe we could present that to Sir Optimist?
And then that
Elks
day,
is a good
What would
starting
be a-
point.
It's
Then
just a lot
it
of
ends-
residential.
I mean, just
So-
as
Yeah,
a
the big deal is agency
Question?
road,
Yeah.
like I said. The parade route.
doesn't close agency, it stays on that
Goes
side.
basically up
Yeah.
from
Where it's
17th
at,
Street all the way
you can
down.
have people
to
hanging
12th.
out, like, if all of a sudden a whole bunch of people were out in front of some grumpy dude's yard, he's gonna be,
They did it for the graduation parade.
no, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing a variable out there, why are all these people in my yard?
Yeah, and
You were
that's
the
why
grumpy
it
man?
goes through downtown. That's why it's all through downtown, because it's
No, I'm not just throwing
business.
candy at him, and dust.
I mean, there's nothing along residential
And January
route.
14th will be
So
color.
that's the
color.
other
Right now,
benefit.
we're talking about an hour, 2 at max, we're talking 9 hours here.
No, the parade,
The graduation.
20 minutes. This, the lighted parade is 20 minutes.
So you'd just be doing the parade and then opening all those streets back up?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Or we could,
Because then we want to end it at the park, right?
so let's just run it from, like, LBJ straight down Ninth.
Or can we just like, end it from front
As far as for the parade route?
row? It's like 20 minutes.
Yeah, we close it all down, you know, at least a half hour to an hour before the parade starts.
At least.
What if we, I know you don't like agency being closed, but if you literally line them up where the, across from Pizza Hut, and then they can line up there in the dirt lot, we can get the owner's permission, and then where Spanky's used to be, there's a dirt lot, they can line up there, they just go straight down agency, turn around the park and call it done. Then you're only closing agency, which I get is agency, but there's 12th and 9th Street that will still be open, so it's literally just deferring.
Navajo is normally closed for the graduation parade anyway, isn't it? Because the graduation route goes down Navajo. So instead of,
Down Navajo?
oh, it doesn't? Okay, so they line up down by coffee urns. And then they come out on,
Come up 18th, down Joshua, down Agency.
Right.
Down Ocotillo, back to
they're on agency? They're not on agency?
Yeah,
graduation parade.
it was.
No, not the graduation parade. I meant this, the other one. So what I'm saying is the Christmas parade, normally they line up on 19th, right? And they come down Joshua, and then they turn and come to the senior center.
Correct.
Okay, so instead of doing that, why can't they line up on 19th, come down Navajo, and park around the park? You were talking about 20 minutes where people might have to sit at agency and watch a parade, oh heaven forbid, and then just open it right back up.
You're also
We don't have
talking
all the
about-
equipment to close it all the way down over here. That's the issue.
And that's a residential neighborhood.
And it is a residential neighborhood.
So
it's
because-
not a business, so you
So-
have to get permission from all of those residents for us to
Oh.
go down. That's another issue.
So you use Joshua Kofa because it's mostly commercial? Because it's mostly commercial,
All
got you.
business.
Okay,
She has to go.
all right, so that won't work then.
So should we do like a work session for Christmas? Or, I don't know. What do we need to do? Just wait till next meeting?
Or we just don't have the parade in there, but that's still, it doesn't give the lighting and the ambiance for the tree lighting, having more lights there, but it still doesn't solve the original problem that started the conversation of not giving enough time frame for people to go back to the park, so. Back to square one.
I think
So
we
y-
should start it at 2, end it at 5:30, do the normal parade route, have them block off around the park,
Ended at 5, you mean?
end it at, yeah.
What
Or
ab-
it could be 2 to 5,
What about
give them
using,
an hour and a half for the parade prep.
what about
then just
using
have that
agency
you-
for the entire parade? From, it's just 4 blocks, maybe 5 blocks? So, like you said, Pizza Hut, come down agency, and then turn into the park, and that's it. That's the parade. There's not a lot of
God, if you
residential
spent
right there.
hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a float, you're gonna want more than just a couple of blocks.
It's
if you
no
spent-
difference, it's no difference, 5 blocks here, 5 blocks there,
Oh,
like,
it's the same number of blocks.
I think so. It's just a different part of town. So you start at Pizza Hut, you come down to Agency, I think it's 5 blocks. So it is 5 blocks. From my house at Navajo to Main Street's 5 blocks. So you do 5 blocks to Navajo, and then you turn in, and then you're only blocking off Agency to where you can still come out from the main light and go that way, and if you need to come into town, you turn and come up 12th or 11th or whatever.
Can we
But
block
just-
off agency?
No, we can't do any rerouting off of ADOT's highway. We'd have to get their permission to do that.
Off
So
of-
we would have to
ADOT.
reroute them
Oh,
to
ADOT's.
Joshua and make a left or right off of Joshua for the detour and go.
You can't go on the highway,
Can't
Alan.
use Agency then.
Yeah, we can use agency, we just can't
You just have a 95.
ADOT's highway,
So like the
95.
stoplight.
So if we do it off of Joshua, yeah, we can ride them
Right.
through the
Just not
light
Yeah, that's
and then
kinda-
go to, Joshua and then up to 9th or in this case 8th because we'd have to get around because of that closure. And on this side, we would have to go to 11th
So-
because 12th is closed, but
For graduation, what is the route again for graduation? I didn't,
Meet at the high school, down, up 18th to Joshua.
Up 18th to Joshua.
And then down
Across.
Agency,
Yep.
all the way to Ocotillo. But Agency is not barricaded off, they're escorted through town.
Right.
So this is, it's more of a,
Yeah.
that's what it is, it's more of a police escort than
Correct.
anything.
the only
Procession.
closure that we do is on
Like funeral.
agency.
Yes.
That was just an idea. I thought maybe just because Agency
Well, they
doesn't have a
could
lot
cross
of.
the main road on their own accord and park at the park still.
Yeah,
To keep
and
the same
that's
route.
that's a good idea. So ending things over there and then having them drive their floats.
Just let them know.
We just won't have any road closure stuff up
Right.
into the park, and we won't close agency itself, but
Just the
crossing
U.
over. But from agency to 9th, and our normal U
at you,
would be closed for the
For the parade.
event.
Yeah.
And for the public, but yeah, if we want to have a section for the floats to park, that's
I think
that's
that's
doable.
the best thing, and then maybe just bump it forward an hour. Just do 2 to 5 instead of 3 to 5.
Which I'm fine with, it's just going back to the tree lighting.
and that's, I mean, I know me, like with my kids, if you told me to end at 5 o'clock, then what am I gonna find to do from 5 till 6:30? I'm probably gonna go home, and then I'm not gonna come back, right? I'm not gonna come back.
And I'm not gonna show up at 2.
Yeah, I won't even show up
You know
till
what
the
I mean? Like,
after event.
There's gonna be, a ton of
that's
us
me.
that don't, there's gonna be a bunch of people that leave right after the park is done and not go to the parade, and there's gonna be a bunch of people that don't show up to the park, and, I don't know.
Which is fine. I mean, there's plenty of people in town to cover both sides of the event.
I can tell you, I've talked to a lot of businesses to like to sponsor this, and they're all on board. They think it's great because it's a community event. It's like something for kids to do. It's
All
giving
day.
them that winter festival life. It's a long day. I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
100% we can move it forward, but I think it's still gonna matter, and we can get rid of something. But you have to think, not each one of these are going to take a certain time. You're gonna have cookie decorating over here, you're gonna have pictures of Santa Claus over here, games going on in the middle. So it's kind of like Family Fun Day where you just walk around and do things. So it's not like you're gonna be like, okay, stop here, go to this corner, okay, stop, go to this corner. That's not gonna happen.
The only organized events we planned, right, we intentionally did like the dogged kickoff, the ugly tree lighting to wrap it up so that everybody was kind of focused and the DJ was able to say, all right, so the parade is starting. Please make your way over to Joshua or is that 12th?
So,
Street.
I mean, and we can get rid of stuff, but the night again, you can't have cookie decorating at night, you can't have games going on at night. So there has to be that balance of daylight and sunlight. The only other thing we can do is cut the movie. So after the tree lighting, it's thank you, have a great night, go home. So it's just trying to make that movie a longer stay where, hey, now go watch a movie if you want.
If you guys want to go have hot chocolate and get something to eat, you
Are we
can.
cutting anything out? I wasn't
We're
thinking we were cutting
cleaning up
anything
the
out.
games and the actual like vendors, the food vendors can stay, so that way they can get during the tree lighting. But the actual games and stuff, because you need that area for the tree lighting.
Right,
and stuff
no, I
like
get that, but we weren't talking about cutting anything out,
Yeah, that's
right?
what they
We
were
just
saying is
talking about
eliminating.
moving.
No, they were talking about eliminating stuff.
Pulling it down.
Oh,
Which we can
maybe the
remove
volleyball.
like, that's
I
not
think
a
the
big
volleyball is
deal.
just kind of out of place anyway. It doesn't really make sense.
That
Christmas
was all
event.
me, and the only reason I mentioned it is because we have the volleyball court there. And was
I
trying
mean,
to
we
use
could do
all the
like a
sections of the park.
cornhole
So that was
and-
totally all me.
Or something if you want a game, but
I was gonna have games anyway.
Have a tournament.
I really just
Maybe,
think that's kind of out of place.
What's it called with the rope back and forth?
Oh, tug of war?
Tug of rope in the, tug of war in the sand or something.
Cookies by Walmart, Walmart's
Isn't there
handling that?
concrete
Like
around
you're
the
saying,
If we can get the bakery to do it.
But that is our plan.
And if their bakery
That's
won't
their
do
thing.
it, if their bakery won't do it, we're gonna try Safeway's bakery. If Safeway's bakery won't do it, we're gonna try Food City's bakery. And it's gonna be something where can your bakers come in, can your decorators come in and kind of lead this and take over? And that's why we didn't think it was too much, because really nothing was gonna be us.
and so
Other than getting it organized and letting everybody do their thing.
so that's what I'm asking. So this is our event, so to say. What are we responsible for? That's it.
Organizing, which I'm helping a lot with. and
You're right.
Melissa and I are
No,
working a
Melissa's
lot
been
with.
amazing.
So mainly it would be, and I can even do the map, get out to the vendors where they're gonna be ahead of time, that's not a big deal, stuff like that. So mainly, I'm gonna tell you, it'll be cleanup.
Right.
After, but if.
And
we
just
decide
being there to
start
set
with
up and
every
answer
single
questions.
person, and then hopefully, that will entice you to have a booth or game as well.
Mhm.
So really, when the event's going on, not much is gonna happen, and the only reason we picked Walmart is because Walmart donated a ton of eggs to their extravaganza, and there's 2 employees that are gung-ho on doing community stuff. So if we can get Walmart to donate the cookies, and over 2 employees had that, that's why we picked Walmart.
I mean, so if you
They're
really,
gung-ho,
if you
they're
look
like,
at everything,
"We're for anything coming up."
DJ Fabe will have the calendar of what time to do things, the like timeframes of what time to do things, and he'll kind of master it.
But it won't even be timed, because it will be, if you
Right.
wanna go decorate your cookie, go to this booth. If you wanna play games, you're gonna have this booth.
And on our flyer, we're gonna include a timeline so they know what's going on.
The timelines would be like the animal, the parade.
Right.
The tree lighting, the normal Sir Optimus parade, and the movies. Everything else is gonna be, they'll be kind of like Family Fun Day. If you go to,
Right.
you have games over here, you have this going on over here in this corner. Everything's just gonna be going on at the same time, so you can walk.
This is our Christmas flyer on the back. It'll show everybody what we're doing.
Pretty much, it will be.
Have it on the front, though.
Oh, either way,
I
it's
I
gonna
can,
be there.
Melissa, I'll play with the flyer this week.
We talked about like.
I'll get a
just
flyer up.
Generic picture, and then the ones that have a timeline, but then we'll also have, you'll have games and
Right.
no certain time frame. And then along the bottom, the people who are actually gonna sponsor, like the Elks logo, if they take on the snowball fight.
Right,
and stuff like that.
perfect.
And pretty much kind of what we were thinking is it's a lot to start with, but if the Elks say no to the snowball fight, then it's out. If Walmart says no to the cookies, then it's out.
How do we have to get it approved through? So are we allowed to just do our events, or does it have to go to council? Okay. All right.
What's that?
We always take the trunk or treat and,
That one's
all of that stuff. Yeah, just mostly
normal.
for the street
But
closures.
a new event, they're gonna pick and choose what they wanna do anyway.
But if they're not doing it, that's what you have to remember, you're selling it as it's a community event. Like, if
Right.
I can
No,
get
that's
Crit
what I
to
mean.
sponsor something, then Crit is in charge of that
That.
area. Which I've already talked to 2 Crit people today, and they're like, the education, they're like, well, on it, even if we just have a booth to hand out, like, what all we offer.
So the biggest concern that we're having, number one, is that we're going to be separating out our audience too much, which will reducing the number of people at events. Because it'll be separating out too much with the stuff going on. The second concern I hear is that there's not enough time between the 5:30 down, there's not enough time between the end of the games, I thought we were doing, okay, and the start of the parade. There's not enough time in there. And then the third thing I hear that is a concern is that the availability of supplies to block off the amount of stuff that would be blocked off, the parade route and then the U around the park.
Correct.
Okay. And then, of course, the overlining is that really the initial concern was having something relatively low-key. Light a Christmas tree, have somebody talk, have some carols.
And a movie.
No, it wasn't even
Initial thought, but, you know, adding activities,
Prior.
you know, after the lighting of the tree, I think would be great. The whole before and after thing, I think you are gonna lose your audience, and I think you are gonna have people, certainly with kids, that want to go to the parade, that have just spent, you know, hours having all this fun over there. They're gonna get to the point where they might not be interested in going to the parade.
or they're tired and fussy.
Or tired, so they're not gonna stick around for
You're
Probably gonna have the older kids with the
so-
tree lighting anyway.
I'm gonna say,
Older kids and movies.
Al, I'm gonna pick on you. You're not gonna go to the games, but you may go to the tree lighting.
Yeah,
So you're gonna have that, you'll have the
and like,
elderly that will possibly be in the later one.
and you'd have to be careful.
Same.
Alright,
Oh.
We'll go to the late ones too. Hey,
No, and you gotta also gotta remember,
Sorry.
you know, you have to, you know, just like every good DJ would know, you don't climax too early. I used to DJ, but, you know, but it's true, you know, like fireworks shows, okay? I'm gonna use the fireworks stuff. They don't throw off the best stuff right off the front, or you'd lose them through the rest of the crowd. It's a little, and then it's the big hoorah or whatever. So if you did something like the tree lighting stuff,
That's
and
like
then
the main event.
you're right, and then you do like a parade afterwards, people are gonna be like,
Yeah.
you know, that's what I meant by climax.
But
too early.
with all this other stuff, the tree lighting does not really look like a main event.
Right. But
No?
we want it to be the main event. We want the tree lighting to be something really cool and kind of a big thing because we've never done it before.
And the tree is in the park.
And it really is.
It's going to be.
Can we move the tree, or no? That's
I-
taken away from the
That's
park.
my favorite
right?
part.
Right.
Tree lighting and a movie afterwards with like hot chocolate.
Yeah, I
and
mean, I
stuff.
think the movie's a great idea.
I
think-
love the second half.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the first half, but that's just me personally. I'm not gonna go play games, but I'm just one person. But I do love the second half. I think that's awesome.
And I'm way too old to stay out late.
So maybe we need to go back and talk to Chana and see how we can kind of streamline some of this, because part of,
Streamline whatever, but just keep in mind, we're back to Calvary's gonna have their own Christmas event, same as Easter, where they didn't participate in the extravaganza because they had their own event going on. And then the pictures with Santa Claus, Optimus already does that already, so we're gonna be back to having
So
all
with
these
the
different events
parade,
going on.
they still wouldn't wanna do pictures with Santa at the park after the parade?
Did they
They can't set up like lighting in the gazebo or
Did they
anything for
cancel
pictures?
Kids Christmas?
God, the parade ending at the park is just so perfect.
Oh, okay.
I
We did,
I think it's
pictures with
amazing.
Santa last year at the library,
Okay.
and we did it for multiple day stretch instead of having one event. So we've done that previously.
Go.
Okay.
okay,
Should we do like another a work session before our next meeting? And maybe kind of see what we can come up with?
do you want to do a work session as a group, or?
Well, we definitely need Steve.
Yes.
Or Amy, because. we
Okay,
need to
so let's
know.
calendar that.
So if we round Steve up for a work session,
Is he here too?
yes. But maybe we should do a work session with Chamber and maybe somebody from the Seroptimus
That's Lily.
and kind of put all of our heads together and figure it out.
She's now on the parade committee.
Get everybody on the same board or on the same,
On the same parade route?
essentially, yes.
Okay, so work session, do we want to stick with a Tuesday since that's the day of our meetings, or do you want to go to a different day?
What works for you?
I don't know your schedule.
Next
I
Tuesday is a council
will
meeting.
accommodate
Are you going out of town for training or anything? Do you have any doctor's appointments scheduled? Are you off, have holiday days off?
How about you?
No, you never know these days. You could be fine right here and go walk right out and get COVID, so.
Sooner than later, right?
Correct, because
So-
for the chamber, we have July and August to plan events.
So
And then
maybe
we
like-
start to
Sooner
plan
rather
events.
than later.
Maybe like next
So-
Tuesday, we could all kind of put our
It's a
heads
council
together.
meeting next Tuesday.
So what is on the calendar for the
Maybe
23rd?
2 weeks.
To
What about the
23rd?
23rd? And maybe we can bring some more ideas on.
23rd,
23rd?
4 o'clock.
Tuesday?
Yep, 23rd, 4 o'clock
Schedule
work
it,
session,
Margaret,
if you
yeah.
could please get that calendar. Is that okay with you? Melissa,
Okay.
4 o'clock.
4 to 6.
Well, there's no hurry to get him out of here by 5 anymore. It used to be I always was very mindful of 5 o'clock because he got
Well,
off
we
at
have a
5
lot of
o'clock.
new events.
All right.
Takes longer.
We've tried for
In
years
our
to try to get
last
a
few
Christmas
meetings.
event. We've tried for years to get a Christmas event. Okay, so that takes care of everything on our calendar. Meeting adjourned at 5:47.
Okay.
Here, hit it. Go ahead, Ellen.
I'm just here for the chocolate.
And can anybody show up to the work session, or is it?
Yes, all of our meetings, or just so everybody knows,